Hey guys, tonight we begin with the very start of everything, the universe itself. Imagine yourself not standing anywhere, not even floating in space, because there is no space yet. There is no air, no earth, no stars to guide you, only a deep, unmeasurable nothingness, so quiet that even silence feels too noisy a word. You are here at the edge of creation, where something extraordinary is about to unfold. And fair warning, you probably wouldn't survive this moment. In fact, no human body could withstand what is about to happen. But since this is a story, and you are safe in bed, you get the rare honor of being a quiet witness. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And I'd love it if you left a comment below telling me where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's drift into tonight's story together. In an instant that defies imagination, the universe is born not with a gentle whisper, but with an expansion so sudden and so vast that time itself springs into being. You do not see a bomb going off. The phrase Big Bang is almost misleading. Instead, you experience space itself stretching in every direction, faster than light, as though reality is inflating like a balloon in the dark. No edges, no center, just an endless, growing fabric. You are not outside it, because there is no outside. You are carried within it, like a mote of dust inside an ever-expanding breath. Temperatures soar beyond comprehension, trillions of degrees hotter than the core of any star that will ever exist. Energy churns in furious motion, colliding, creating particles that appear and vanish in fractions of a second. It is a storm of beginnings, and you drift calmly through it as if wrapped in a protective dream. Quarks dance into existence, some clinging together to form protons and neutrons, the seeds of all atoms yet to come. Historians of science still debate whether nothing truly preceded this moment, or whether another universe collapsed to give birth to this one. Perhaps our cosmos is only one bubble in a foamy sea of infinite beginnings. The truth may forever remain uncertain, but tonight you float in the middle of the unfolding. A curious fact: the very first second of existence determined everything that followed. If the density of the universe had been even slightly different, thinner by a fraction, thicker by another, the cosmos might have collapsed back into itself instantly, or raced apart too quickly for stars ever to form. But here you are, in the one universe where the math worked out just right. You sense not chaos, but a strange kind of order hiding beneath the frenzy. Like music warming up before the orchestra begins, the universe hums with potential. Tiny fluctuations ripple across the expanding space, imperfections that will one day sculpt galaxies, planets, even the room where you sleep tonight. And so, you drift in the first breath of everything. No stars, no light, only a swelling tide of possibility. The beginning is not a bang at all, but a quiet invitation, a universe whispering, "Watch what I become." You drift along, carried forward by the rhythm of expansion itself. There is no clock to mark the seconds, but somehow you feel time beginning to stir, as if the universe is gently unrolling a scroll that was always waiting to be read. The first tremors of time ripple past you. It isn't measured in hours or days, those are human inventions, but in the raw unfolding of cause and effect. Before this, there was no before. Now there is a sense of after. The cosmos is stretching, swelling larger with every heartbeat you imagine. Space itself is the stage, but instead of wood or stone, it's made of energy and possibility. You float not through emptiness, but through something more alive, a fabric that expands faster than you can blink. If you tried to measure distance, it would double and double again before you finished counting. And though this sounds violent, you experience it as gentle as if a balloon were breathing outward around you in slow motion. Your senses trace the heat. Temperatures are still unimaginable, but compared to the very first instant, they have cooled. What was once pure energy now begins to condense into particles. Tiny quarks cling together, forming protons and neutrons, sturdy little building blocks. Most of them are hydrogen, with a sprinkling of helium. It doesn't sound exciting, But these simple ingredients will one day give rise to oceans, forests, and the coffee cup on your bedside table. Here's a curious detail. During this early phase, the universe is smooth almost everywhere, but with the tiniest irregularities. Imagine frosting on a cake that looks flat, but under a microscope reveals delicate bumps and valleys. Those tiny imperfections, just a 1 part in 100,000 difference, will decide where galaxies, stars, and planets eventually cluster. Without them, everything might have remained a dull, featureless fog forever. Historians of science still debate whether time itself had a definite starting moment, or whether it merely emerged as the universe cooled into order. Did time exist before the Big Bang, ticking silently in another realm? Or is time only as old as the particles now forming around you? You glide through that question, unable to answer, but at peace with the uncertainty. There is a steady hum beneath all this, the birth of the laws of physics. Gravity takes shape as a soft but persistent pull, destined to shape galaxies and worlds. The electromagnetic force begins to shine, promising light someday. Even the nuclear forces settle into their roles, binding particles like careful craftsmen. You are surrounded not by chaos, but by the delicate establishment of rules that everything else must follow. It's like watching the universe write its own constitution. A light joke drifts through your mind. If the cosmos had politicians, this was the one time they all agreed quickly on the rules. No filibusters, no debates, just physics quietly putting everything in order. As the fabric of reality stretches, the particles become more stable. It is still far too hot for atoms to form, but the blueprint is now etched into existence. You drift like a feather on an infinite wind, sensing that everything important is happening beneath the surface. Remember the faint fluctuations you noticed in the beginning? They continue here, stretched wider as the universe grows. They seem so minor now, but one day, they will decide where galaxies cluster like lanterns in the dark. You are traveling through a calm that hides enormous promise, the first tremors of time itself, setting the stage for every story that will ever be told. You drift onward, and the universe feels different now. The furious heat of the beginning has eased, though it is still hotter than the heart of any star you will ever know. Space has stretched so much that the energy begins to thin, like a fire cooling into glowing embers. And then, for the first time, something remarkable happens. Light breaks free. Imagine being surrounded by a fog so thick you can't see your own hand, and then suddenly, the mist clears, revealing a vast horizon. That's what this moment is like. Before now, photons, the particles of light, were trapped, endlessly colliding with charged particles, unable to travel freely. The universe was opaque, glowing but hidden, like the inside of a furnace. But as temperatures fall, protons and electrons finally slow down enough to combine into atoms of hydrogen and helium. This calming act is called recombination. And the instant it happens, light is released into open space. You watch as the darkness softens into a faint, golden glow. It isn't blinding, but gentle, a low, pervasive light stretching everywhere. That light still exists today, washed out and stretched into microwaves by billions of years of expansion. Astronomers call it the cosmic microwave background, or CMB for short. You can even hear echoes of it in static on an old radio, or see it as fuzz on a television screen. Imagine the hiss of the universe's baby picture filling your room without you noticing. Here's a curious fact. The first detailed maps of this cosmic light, made in the late 20th century, showed those faint ripples we spoke of earlier. They appear as tiny variations in temperature across the sky, but in reality, they are the seeds of galaxies and clusters yet to come. From your perspective, you float inside a dim mottled canvas, a glowing fog, uneven in the subtlest ways, but rich with destiny. Historians of science still debate how much of this light is pristine and how much might have been shaped by later cosmic events, like the first galaxies forming and heating the gas around them. Was the early universe truly as smooth as we think, or are we seeing a blurred picture with missing details? The argument continues. but you drift quietly between those glowing ripples, feeling them like the slow waves of a cosmic ocean. You notice how silent it all feels. There are no stars yet, no galaxies, no planets, just an endless ocean of hydrogen and helium, transparent at last, bathed in faint light. It feels almost lonely, like a theater stage waiting for actors. And yet, you know the actors are already written into the script, hiding in the quiet. The light around you is soft, timeless. If you could breathe it in, it would taste like the first exhale after a long, tense moment. The universe, once blinding and violent, now glows like a lantern in a foggy night. You drift, calm and weightless, bathed in the afterglow of creation. And in this moment, you realize, what people call the Big Bang isn't just an explosion in the past. Its warmth is still here, its whisper still humming. Every flicker of light in your bedroom tonight carries an echo of this first illumination. You are not only watching history, you are woven into it. The glow around you slowly fades, stretched thinner by the expanding universe. You are surrounded now by calm, drifting atoms, mostly hydrogen, with a sprinkle of helium floating like an endless sea of invisible mist. It may seem uneventful, even boring, but this quiet is exactly what the cosmos needs before its next great transformation. You are inside what astronomers poetically call the cosmic dark ages. Imagine walking into a vast cathedral just after the candles have been blown out. The walls are there, the ceiling arches overhead, but everything waits in shadow. That is what this era feels like. Light has been freed, yes, but there are no stars yet to shine. The universe is transparent, but empty of beacons. 1 billion years might pass before the first brilliant points appear. To you, drifting here, it feels like a silence that stretches forever. And yet, beneath that stillness, something crucial is happening. Gravity, quiet and patient, begins its lifelong work. Those tiny ripples from earlier, the barely noticeable variations in density, now act like seeds. Where matter is slightly denser, gravity tugs more strongly, pulling atoms closer together. Slowly, unimaginably slowly, clouds of hydrogen and helium begin to gather. They swirl and thicken, like mist drawn into invisible hands. Historians of science sometimes call this era boring, but it's more like intermission in a grand play. The stage is being prepared. No explosions, no drama, only gravity whispering. Wait, something is coming. You drift closer to one of these invisible gatherings, watching atoms cluster like dancers moving toward a center point. Curiously, scholars still debate just how fast this process unfolded. Some argue that the very first stars might have formed sooner than we think, blazing fiercely into existence only a few 100 million years after the beginning. Others suggest the universe took its time, cooling and collecting more patiently. You hover between these theories, suspended in timeless darkness, knowing both may be partly true. As the clouds condense, faint traces of heavier elements born in the brief lives of the very first stars are missing. Everything here is pristine, made only of the simplest ingredients. That means the first stars will be unlike any that exist today. Massive, short-lived, and brilliant. But for now, the stage remains dark, the silence unbroken. There is a meditative beauty to this quiet. The universe is holding its breath, stretching further, cooling further, waiting for the spark. You float as though inside an ink-black ocean. Stars not yet ignited, galaxies not yet painted. The loneliness is almost soothing. Nothing rushes, nothing interrupts. It is as if the cosmos is teaching you the art of patience. And yet, you can almost sense it. Deep in the clustering fog, atoms are pressing closer, heating slowly, whispering of fusion to come. The first stars are not here yet, but they are inevitable. Like sparks hiding in dry wood, waiting for a single match, they linger just beneath the surface. You exhale, and the universe exhales with you. This darkness is not an ending. It is a pause before the grand illumination, and when that moment comes, the night sky will never be the same again. the silence begins to stir. In the vast cathedral of darkness, small pockets of gas tighten under the pull of gravity, their particles colliding more often, heating from invisible friction. You drift into one of these clouds and feel the change. Warmth, gathering like a secret flame. Something ancient is about to ignite for the very first time. Hydrogen, the simplest and most common element, does not like to stay still when pressed together. The atoms, squeezed so tightly that their electrons tremble, suddenly fuse, merging into helium and releasing light and heat. And with that, the first stars are born. They burst into brilliance not with a thunderclap, but like sudden blossoms in the black garden of the cosmos. Imagine the sight: enormous blue-white suns, each dozens or even hundreds of times more massive than your own Sunday. They shine furiously, burning their fuel in only a few million years, the blink of an eye in cosmic time. These stars are short-lived but spectacular, blazing with the energy to reshape the universe around them. Their light pushes back the darkness, the cosmic dawn. Astronomers call it the moment when the first true beacons pierce the veil. From your vantage point, you watch as the universe goes from lonely shadows to a scattered constellation of newborn fire. The light is harsh but beautiful, like lanterns rising into a night sky after a long silence. Curiously, scientists still debate exactly when this dawn occurred. Was it about 200 million years after the Big Bang, or closer to 400? The evidence hides in faint signals, like fingerprints left in the cosmic microwave background. Some telescopes suggest an early ignition, while others argue for a slower awakening. You float in between these theories, seeing both possibilities shimmer before you. These first stars do more than shine. In their hearts, new elements are forged: carbon, oxygen, iron, the raw materials for everything from oceans to trees to your own breath. When these titanic stars die, they do not fade quietly. They explode in supernovae, scattering their precious cargo across the cosmos. You can almost hear it, not a violent crash, but a deep, resonant release, like a drum echoing through the night. As you drift among them, you notice how their light carves into the hydrogen fog. Vast bubbles of ionized gas form, glowing faintly as starlight strips atoms of their electrons. This era is known as reionization, the universe lighting its own lamps, pushing away the fog. Slowly, the darkness recedes, replaced by glowing regions that grow larger and larger. A gentle thought arises. The very atoms in your body were born in the hearts of stars like these. The calcium in your bones, the oxygen you breathe, all of it forged here, long before Earth existed. You are not only a witness, you are a descendant of these first flames. Galaxies begin to coalesce around them, still clumpy and uneven. They are not yet the elegant spirals you might recognize, but awkward gatherings of stars, messy and bright. You watch them gather, drawn by gravity into families, the earliest cosmic neighborhoods. And so, from the quiet of the dark ages, the universe has bloomed. Its first lights are fierce, short-lived, and dazzling. You are surrounded now, not by silence, but by the hum of creation: stars burning, elements forming, galaxies assembling. The stage has awakened, and the play of light has finally begun. You drift deeper into the newborn cosmos, and what once seemed like scattered lanterns of stars now begin to gather into patterns. Gravity, ever patient, draws the stellar seeds closer together, weaving them into great assemblies, the first galaxies. They do not arrive polished and symmetrical. Instead, they are clumpy, chaotic, glowing islands adrift in the vast sea of night. Imagine standing at a shoreline and watching lanterns float on water. Some cluster, some drift apart, some collide and merge into brighter glows. Galaxies in this era are much the same: small, irregular, with bright young stars burning hot and short. Their shapes are untamed, a few wisps here, a lopsided cluster there. And yet, as time stretches, these awkward collections will evolve into spirals, ellipses, and grand designs that fill astronomy textbooks today. You drift past one such forming galaxy. Gas clouds swirl like slow-motion whirlpools, feeding star birth. In one corner, a brilliant cluster ignites, lighting the surrounding gas in glowing blue. In another, supernovae erupt, scattering heavy elements outward like quiet fireworks. These explosions, far from being destructive, seed the galaxy with the very ingredients that will one day form planets and life. There's a calm irony here. Galaxies, which feel so permanent when you gaze at them through telescopes on Earth, are really restless things. They stretch, distort, and reshape themselves over billions of years. Some scholars still debate exactly how quickly galaxies formed and what role invisible dark matter played. Was dark matter the hidden scaffolding that guided them, a silent frame upon which gas and stars hung like ornaments? Or did galaxies emerge more chaotically, without such steady support? The debate continues, whispered between researchers, like quiet disagreements in a library. As you float further, you notice that galaxies rarely exist in solitude. They are drawn to one another, forming pairs and groups. Our own Milky Way, young at this stage, already has companions, small satellite galaxies dancing around it like younger siblings. And far on the horizon, another great spiral takes shape. Andromeda, destined billions of years from now, to meet the Milky Way in a slow embrace. For now, though, they shine separately, two neighbors, unaware of their eventual union. Between the galaxies, darkness still rules. These gulfs are unimaginably vast, emptier than anything you've ever tried to imagine. Yet even here, there is a quiet beauty. Tiny galaxies drift like lantern sparks, stitching themselves into invisible threads that will one day reveal the cosmic web. From your vantage point, the whole scene feels like a dance. Not rushed, not violent, but deliberate galaxies, drifting, merging, growing brighter, finding their place. The universe is no longer a lonely cathedral. It is becoming a bustling city of light. And within this city, the foundations for everything are being laid. Heavy elements accumulate, black holes stir in galactic hearts, stars live and die in brilliant cycles. You float at the edge of it all, watching the quiet choreography unfold. The cosmos is not chaotic anymore. It is beginning to show structure, rhythm, and pattern. A dance of billions of stars in each galaxy, billions of galaxies in the sky. The music is gravity. The stage is infinite, and you, a silent witness, drift along in its endless waltz. Now the dance grows more intricate. The galaxies, once clumsy and awkward, begin to approach one another. From a distance, they appear like drifting clouds on a slow collision course. You might expect violence, but when galaxies meet, it is less a crash and more a weaving of light. Their stars, so far apart within their galactic homes, almost never touch. Instead, gravity pulls their structures into elongated arms, stretching them into new forms. You watch as two galaxies lean toward one another. At first, their edges brush, pulling out delicate filaments of stars, tidal tails, astronomers call them. These look like glowing bridges, strands of pearls scattered into the dark. With each slow pass, the galaxies distort, spiral arms twisting into ribbons, central bulges swelling. The pace is glacial to human eyes. A single orbit might take hundreds of millions of years, yet the effect is graceful, like dancers bowing and turning in silence. The Milky Way itself, where you one day will exist, is already fated for such a dance. 4 billion years from now, it will merge with Andromeda, forming a vast new elliptical galaxy. From Earth's perspective, the night sky will fill with streams of stars, brighter and stranger than anything humans have ever known. But for you, drifting here in this earlier epoch, the collisions are already underway across the cosmos. Inside these merging galaxies, gas clouds are squeezed together, triggering bursts of star formation. New, hot blue stars flare into life, while older stars drift quietly into new orbits. To call this destruction would be misleading. It is more like renewal. The old structures dissolve, yes, but in their place rise brighter, richer systems. Galaxies, like living beings, change through their relationships. Scientists continue to debate how important these collisions were for shaping the universe we see today. Did most galaxies grow large through countless mergers, or were they already massive from the start? The truth, as usual, lies in a mosaic of evidence. Some galaxies built patiently on their own, while others grew through dramatic embraces. Even now, the question lingers, studied through telescopes that peer billions of years back in time. You float closer, watching as two galactic cores spiral together. At their centers, enormous black holes lurk each millions of times the mass of a star. When galaxies merge, their black holes draw nearer, locked in a slow gravitational dance that can take eons to resolve. Eventually, they too will merge, releasing waves of rippling gravity that stretch across the fabric of space itself. You imagine these as faint echoes, like a distant drumbeat you can almost hear. The thought is humbling. The universe grows not only through creation, but through encounters, through interactions. Galaxies are not isolated islands, but social creatures, forever shaping one another. What looks like calm light in the night sky is, in truth, the record of endless unions and transformations. From your vantage point, the view is breathtaking. Galaxies stream past one another, colliding slowly, glowing brighter with every embrace. Across the universe, the dance repeats, each collision leaving behind something new, something unexpected. It is not chaos, it is choreography on the largest scale imaginable, and you, floating in the silence, bear witness to the universe learning the art of connection. Now that galaxies have settled into their sprawling neighborhoods, another mystery begins to draw your attention. For all their light, for all their stars and glowing gas, something else seems to be shaping them, something invisible. You drift through the vast dark between galaxies, and though your eyes see almost nothing, you feel the tug of gravity everywhere. It's as though unseen hands are guiding the cosmic dance. Astronomers call this hidden influence dark matter. Not dark because it is evil, but because it does not shine. It neither emits nor absorbs light. To ordinary eyes, it is absent. Yet its fingerprints are everywhere. Without it, galaxies would spin apart like wheels flinging off their spokes. With it, they hold together, bound by an invisible web. Imagine walking through a fog at night, lanterns glowing faintly ahead of you. You can't see the fog itself, but you notice the way it muffles sound, the way it clings to your clothes. Dark matter is like that, present, persuasive, yet unseen. You drift further, and a pattern begins to emerge. The galaxies are not scattered randomly, like dust thrown into the wind. Instead, they gather along vast cosmic filaments, threads stretching across unimaginable distances. Where the filaments intersect, clusters of galaxies blaze like jeweled knots on a net. Between the filaments yawns the cosmic void, dark expanses almost entirely empty. This is the cosmic web, the largest structure ever known, and it is sculpted largely by dark matter. Scientists debate what dark matter truly is. Could it be exotic particles that barely interact with ordinary atoms? Or something stranger? Something we haven't yet imagined? Despite decades of searching, it remains elusive, always slipping through the fingers of experiment. It is as though the universe guards its deepest secret behind a curtain. Some even propose that perhaps gravity itself behaves differently on the grandest scales, making dark matter not a thing but a sign we misunderstand the rules. The debates hum quietly, unresolved. And dark matter is not alone. There is another presence even more mysterious. While gravity tries to pull the universe together, some unknown force is pushing it apart, faster and faster. This repulsive energy is called dark energy, and it makes up most of the universe. Imagine that. The majority of reality is something we cannot see, cannot touch, cannot explain. You pause, floating at the edge of a galaxy cluster, and let the thought sink in. All the stars you see, all the glowing galaxies, they are only a fraction of existence. Most of the universe hides in shadows, felt but unseen. There's a calmness in that realization. The cosmos doesn't rush to explain itself. It allows mysteries to linger, like gentle riddles whispered at bedtime. And in those riddles lies wonder. We live in a universe that refuses to be simple, that keeps its heart half-veiled, inviting curiosity without ever exhausting it. You continue to drift through the filaments of the cosmic web, lanterns of galaxies strung like beads across an unseen thread. The invisible scaffolding holds them together, silent, patient, eternal. And though you cannot see it, you know it's there, shaping everything, even the story of your own existence. The universe, it seems, is woven of light and shadow alike. You have watched the first sparks, the birth of galaxies, the hidden architecture of dark matter. Now, as time drifts onward, the universe begins to resemble something familiar, the stage on which your own story will one day unfold. Stars gather in quiet swirls, galaxies cluster like neighborhoods, and amid all of this vastness, tiny worlds begin to take shape. Inside the fiery hearts of second and third generation stars, elements heavier than hydrogen and helium are forged: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron. With every stellar death, these elements are scattered like seeds across the galaxy. Clouds of gas enriched with this stardust collapse, again and again, forming new stars. Around some of those stars, disks of leftover matter swirl, flattening into thin plates. Within these disks, specks of dust collide, stick, and grow. Pebbles become boulders. Boulders become planetoids. And, at last, planets are born. You float through one of these nurseries, and it feels almost domestic compared to the roaring chaos of earlier epochs. Dust grains drift in golden light, soft as flour caught in a sunbeam. The process is slow, careful, patient. There is no hurry in the universe's craft. The first planets are rugged, molten, unstable. But over eons, some cool, oceans form, atmospheres gather, and surfaces smooth. Around countless stars, this quiet experiment repeats. Some planets remain barren, silent stones circling their suns. Others brew storms, mountains, and seas. On a rare few, chemistry stirs in just the right way, until molecules assemble into something self-aware. Here, the universe takes its boldest leap, from matter into life. Science cannot say exactly how often this miracle occurs. Some argue it is rare beyond measure, a cosmic fluke. Others suspect the universe teems with life, scattered across billions of worlds. For now, we know only one place where life has taken root. One small planet, circling an unremarkable star in the suburbs of the Milky Way. A world you will someday call Earth. The path to this blue planet was long and improbable. Entire generations of stars had to live and die to provide the raw materials. Galaxies had to merge and weave into vast webs. The laws of physics, delicate, precise, had to permit stability over billions of years. Every detail, from the balance of gravity to the charge of the electron, played a role in making Earth possible. As you drift closer in imagination, you sense the fragility of it all. A planet is but a speck, a dust mote in a cathedral of galaxies. And yet, within that speck, entire histories will unfold: civilizations, dreams, songs, sorrows, hopes. The universe has painted on its grandest canvas, only to leave a corner for small, fleeting lives that will one day look back and ask, why? You pause here, hovering between awe and tenderness. The cosmos has stretched itself across unimaginable distances and times, but in the end, it gives rise to something intimate, the possibility of eyes to see it, voices to tell its story. It is as though the universe has been waiting, quietly, for someone to notice. At last, you arrive at the present, a universe still expanding, still humming with quiet energy. Galaxies spin in their luminous spirals. Clusters stretch along invisible filaments. Dark matter scaffolds it all, while dark energy whispers, urging space to grow wider, faster. And somewhere in this vastness, a small species on a fragile world looks upward and dares to ask, where did it all begin? You are part of that species, a being of stardust, carrying atoms forged in ancient stars, stitched into skin and bone. You are, quite literally, the universe becoming conscious of itself. Every thought you have, every dream, is made possible by particles born in the first seconds after the Big Bang. Your heartbeat is timed by forces set in motion at the dawn of everything. The Big Bang is not just a theory of science. It is a story, one that connects you to the farthest galaxies and the quiet glow of the microwave background. When you look at the night sky, you are looking into history. The light from distant stars began its journey before humans, before Earth itself, before even your galaxy took shape. Each photon is an ancient traveler, whispering, "This is where you came from." And yet, mysteries remain. Was the Big Bang truly a beginning, or just a transition from something older, something hidden beyond the reach of telescopes? What sparked the inflation that smoothed the cosmos? Why do the constants of nature allow life at all? These are not questions with easy answers, and perhaps they never will be. But the wonder lies not in certainty, but in the journey of asking. As you drift now, floating gently at the edge of this story, you realize the Big Bang is not only behind you. It echoes in the present, in every atom of your body, in every flicker of starlight, in every breath of space still stretching wider. You are part of this expansion, carried effortlessly on the current of creation. So close your eyes and let that thought rest with you. You belong to the universe, and it belongs to you. From the first flash of light to the quiet pulse of your heart, there is no separation. The story of the cosmos is also the story of you. Now, let the weight of this journey settle softly. You have traveled from nothingness into everything, through blazing stars and silent voids, across webs of galaxies and the hidden realm of dark matter. You have witnessed the rise of planets and the delicate spark of life, and here you are, resting in the quiet knowledge that all of it flows through you. Breathe slowly, deeply, as though you are breathing with the universe itself. Inhale the cool darkness of space. Exhale the warmth of starlight. Feel your body grow heavy, grounded, safe. Like a planet circling its star, you are steady, in orbit, at peace. Imagine the galaxies still drifting above you, slow and unhurried. Imagine the stars burning steadily, their light patient and eternal. Imagine the silent web of dark matter, unseen but always holding, always supporting. The universe does not rush, neither must you. Whatever questions remain about beginnings, endings, or the vast unknown, let them drift beyond reach. For now, you do not need to solve them. You do not need to hold them. The cosmos has carried these mysteries for nearly 14 billion years. It can carry them a while longer. Tonight, you are free simply to rest. So allow your thoughts to dissolve, like starlight fading into the horizon. Allow your breath to guide you deeper, slower, softer. The universe will keep spinning, expanding, dreaming, whether you are awake or asleep. For now, you are safe in its story, safe in its silence, safe in its infinite, gentle embrace. Rest, stardust. The cosmos will be here when you wake.